Every single week, he and his wife always take their young son to the orphanage to do some good. The boy feels especially bad for an orphan named Chuan.
Seeing the boy's disabled legs, their son keeps begging them to buy the poor kid some new clothes.
That pretty pitiful child desperately begs them for an adoption. Unable to handle his wife and son pleading, our guy finally goes ahead and does the official adoption paperwork.
But right after that, his son tragically slips inside the house, falls from the balcony, and loses his life. Soon after, he and his wife both end up passing away in a really terrible car crash. As a lingering spirit after passing away, he watches, right in midair, as Chuan literally stands right up from that wheelchair, smiling while completely tearing their family memorial photo to shreds. "Everything in this house is completely mine now," the boy says. Opening his eyes again, he travels back to the exact day of the adoption. This time, he firmly shakes off the boy clinging to his arm. "Mister, these clothes are so pretty," the boy says. "I have never worn anything new before. I really love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Auntie." "You two are incredibly kind. Mister, can I please be your son? My legs are totally crippled, and the other kids here always bully me. So please, can you take me away with you? I swear I will be perfectly good, and I will work like a horse to repay you both." Saying that, Chuan tries to throw himself out of the wheelchair to kneel. His wife, Tuanguet, quickly pulls the kid back, smiling gently. "As long as you like it, does anyone else bully you here? The director seems like a pretty good person. How could that happen?" Their son also gets teary-eyed out of pure pity, shooting his dad a begging look. "Dad, maybe we should just take him home. I really want a little brother to play with." That familiar voice suddenly rings out. Hearing it, our guy finally snaps fully awake from his past life memories. He has actually been reborn, returning to the exact day they adopted Chuan. In his past life, using those crippled legs, every time they came for charity, this kid would rush out, pretending to be totally pitiful just to sway their son. Plus, he and Tuanguet were always naturally soft-hearted, completely unable to handle his constant pleading, so they ended up agreeing to bring him home. Now watch how crazy this gets. One single kind act actually led to his entire family meeting a tragic end. After passing away, seeing Chuan standing tall on perfectly healthy legs proved he was never disabled. His true identity is totally mysterious, and his real age is actually way over 20, meaning all this time he has just been acting in the orphanage to farm cheap sympathy. In the end, he and Tuanguet were just fools being totally used. There is no way he lets that tragedy repeat itself again. Keeping a totally cold face, he speaks up. "My house really has no spare rooms for you, so just completely forget about the adoption." The orphanage gets regular donations from kind people, and the living conditions are pretty good, so they will not let you suffer here. His wife absolutely cannot understand why he suddenly acts like a completely different person. "Honey, what is wrong with you? Chuan is just talking. Why are you so angry?" Their son looks terrified, gripping his shirt tight with a really hurt expression. "Dad, you never taught me to be like this before. You said we have to help anyone in trouble, and good people will get completely rewarded." Chuan is really so pitiful. "Can we just not take him home?" Facing the constant begging from both of them, our guy still remains absolutely firm. "No way. If you want to see him, I can bring you here every single week, but we absolutely cannot bring him to our house." Chiu, you are our one and only child right now. Do you truly want to add a little brother just to share half of your parents' attention every day? Even though their son is quite young, after thinking it over, he actually understands his father's hidden struggle and simply nods in totally obedient agreement. He breathes a massive sigh of relief, but right then, Chuan gets teary-eyed, struggling to move his wheelchair right up to him. "Mister, life here is not as pretty as you think. Donated stuff is super limited, and since I am crippled from birth, I cannot fight the other kids for it. The director also prefers raising the healthy ones, since they actually have a chance at adoption, while nobody ever cares about me at all. Over all these years, only you two have ever bothered to talk to me or buy me anything. I know your family is wealthy, so feeding just one more kid is nothing. I can work as a servant. I can take care of Brother Chu. I will do absolutely anything, and I am not afraid of hard work." That incredibly calculating look in his eyes sends a pure chill right down his spine. He replies coldly, "I said no adoption, and I mean it. My family has money because we actually worked hard for it. It did not just fall from the sky. Helping you is a kindness. Not helping is totally fine too. Even if we have money, we do not just spend it on complete strangers.
I am definitely not that insanely generous. Besides, every single week we will give you 500 yuan for allowance, which is plenty to live on, so do not get too incredibly greedy.
Saying that, he completely ignores the kid's reaction and just leads his son right out of the room.
Tunuet immediately follows closely behind, having absolutely no idea why he just did that, but she has always naturally supported her husband totally unconditionally.
While she brings the car around, he and his son stand waiting in the sun, suddenly feeling a really toxic glare burning into his back.
He turns his head back, catching Chuan staring out the window, his expression shifting incredibly fast. It goes right back to a pitiful begging look, but our guy still clearly spots that familiar sinister glare, packed with a really dark ambition to get exactly what he wants.
He frowns, immediately rushing his son back into the car. In his shock, cold sweat dots his forehead. Tunuet hands him a tissue, asking with deep concern, "What is wrong with you?"
Are you feeling sick? You looked completely different back there. Their son also looks at him with pure hurt. Dad, you are so scary today.
I gently rub my son's head. Chio, doing a good deed is fine, but you have to read the situation first. Some people actually show gratitude, while others just stab you right in the back. You are young, but you will understand someday. Everything I do is just to protect us.
My wife gives me a highly suspicious look, so I just tell her my past life story, playing it off like some random news.
I mention a nice guy who adopted an orphan, only for that exact kid to completely destroy his whole family in the end.
She frowns, getting pretty upset. Is that actually true? I guess I totally misunderstood you, honey. You make a really solid point. Choo-Choo is way too young for that.
Focusing all our energy on raising Choo-Choo is enough for us. Anyone else out there honestly has absolutely nothing to do with our family.
Hearing that, I lean back in the seat and close my eyes. But deep down, my stomach is completely tied in knots.
Chuan is so young, yet he pulled off faking a disability? That kid is incredibly scheming. He already targeted my family. Would he really just let it go?
Looks like we definitely cannot visit this orphanage ever again. Thank goodness Chuan's fake identity already lists him as 17 years old.
Once he hits 18 years old, they will just kick him right out.
By then, he will not need an adoptive family anymore, which should eliminate the threat. All that stress finally fades away, and I somehow drift right off to sleep.
In my dream, I am dragged right back to my past life. That terrifying image of Chuan smirking keeps flashing in my mind, jolting me awake in a cold sweat.
I open my eyes. The car is already parked downstairs at our building. My son happily hops out, getting ready to head upstairs.
Right then, my phone rings. The director is calling. You already know this means trouble.
Hello, Trong. Sorry to bother you. Since you used to sponsor Chuan, I am just calling to let you know he actually got adopted by someone else today.
Anything involving Chuan is something I desperately want to avoid. I just give a quick careless response and immediately hang up the phone.
Since I turned him down, he clearly shifted his target to someone else. I just hope that family does not end up being horribly used like I was before. Honestly, I cannot even worry about this mess anymore. Once we get home, I help my son wash up, while I just keep tossing and turning all night long.
3 a.m. hits. A heavy, aggressive knocking suddenly pounds right on our front door.
I jolt completely upright in bed. Tunuet wakes up too. She is just about to open it, but I quickly stop her, putting a finger to my lips for total silence. Then I rush over, pressing my eye right against the peephole. Pure evil. Chuan's totally vicious stare hits me right in the face.
His eyes are practically bulging out. As we lock gazes through that tiny hole, my entire body goes weak with pure terror. I cover my mouth tightly, staying completely silent, but he refuses to leave.
After 2 straight minutes of absolute silence, loud sobbing echoes from the hallway.
Uncle, Auntie, I know you guys are in there. Please save your Anan. My adoptive parents took me in, but they beat me all day long. I barely escaped them. If you do not help me, they will drag me back and finish me off. Uncle, Auntie, I am literally down on my knees begging you right now.
I have absolutely no clue how he found our place. In this massive panic, Tunuet actually steps forward to open the door. I instantly block her path, shouting right through the thick, heavy door. "And your uncle and auntie are already fast asleep." The director already told us you got adopted by someone else today. Legally speaking, we are not your guardians, and we have zero obligation to take care of you anymore.
If your adoptive parents show up and accuse us of hiding you, we could never, ever clear our names, no matter how hard we try to explain it.
You really need to go back right now. We cannot do anything for you. Chio has school tomorrow, so please, just stop shouting out there.
Tunuet totally disagrees, shooting me a highly annoyed look. Trong Hui, Chu-an is literally just a little child. Are you being way too overly paranoid here?
He is physically disabled. He can barely walk. What bad things could he possibly do? It is only for one single night anyway. Tomorrow morning I will just take him straight to the police station and let them handle returning him to the orphanage. Then she reaches for the handle.
I forcefully shove her a good 2 meters away. Did you not think about how a disabled kid somehow tracked down our exact apartment? How did he get up to the 15th floor?
There are 0 wheelchair ramps downstairs. You see why this is creepy? Tunuet completely freezes, clearly finally catching my drift. Outside, Chuan's crying grows louder and louder, actively drawing the attention of several neighbors. He purposely tears his clothes apart, exposing nasty, dark bruises that look exactly like serious abuse.
The neighbors immediately start gossiping out in the hall. Whose child is this? Why did he come looking around here?
Look at all those horrible wounds on him. He is incredibly pitiful. Did this family not just get home today? Why will they not open up?
Chuan tearfully explains how he is an orphan our family once sponsored, claiming his new parents brutally abused him, leaving him no choice but to beg us.
Hearing all that sad stuff, the neighbors actually start knocking on our door too. Hey Trung, this poor kid is super pitiful. Just let him inside to sleep tonight. Exactly. It is definitely not easy for a little kid to run all the way here in the middle of the night. You guys helped him before. One more time is fine.
You guys literally just bought a brand new car. Taking care of one extra kid will not cost much. Hurry up and open the door for him.
Stop making noise and bothering everyone this late. Seeing no other way out, I finally just cracked the door open.
Chu-an is sitting flat on the ground, completely covered in dark stains. The second he sees me, he drags his upper body forward, tightly hugging my leg.
Uncle, your Ann finally found you again. Please just save me. That awful family never genuinely wanted to adopt me in the first place.
He cries out. They just want me as a punching bag for their kid. If I resist, they beat me, yell, and completely starve me.
If I did not run fast, I would be locked up and bullied right now. He weeps pitifully. The neighbors standing around clearly feel bad for him. We live in a modern society and animals like that still exist? Just total garbage.
Mr. Trong, they say, you and your wife are good people, volunteering at the orphanage every week. Why not adopt this kid right now? You are a company director anyway. An extra mouth to feed is nothing.
You only have one kid. Raising 2 is basically the same. This boy traveled so far to find you. Consider it pure destiny.
Just keep him here. He is incredibly pitiful. Tunuet was already convinced by me earlier, so she does not dare nod along now. I take the phone from her hand and immediately dial the police.
Chuan, it is not that I do not care about you, but your adoption papers are already finalized.
Taking you in right now would be illegal. You would not want to see me accused of being a human trafficker by your foster parents, right?
The police will investigate thoroughly, and if your foster parents actually have issues, the adoption gets canceled. Then you will just have to go back and live at the orphanage.
Do not worry, Chuan. I completely ignore his deeply resentful glare and directly explain the whole situation to the police officers.
The neighbors need their rest. Once this mess gets sorted out, everyone heads home.
Since Tunuet has no memories of our past life, I worry she might soften up toward Chuan, so I decide to personally take him to the station. Before leaving, I spot my terrified son Truong Chio inside his room. I tell my wife to comfort him well. Then I walk Chuan directly into the elevator.
On the way, he still plays the victim, begging me to adopt him. It feels like everyone else in the entire world is evil except for our family.
No matter what he says, I stay silent, handling him with polite distance. By the time the paperwork finishes, it is 6 a.m. Chu-an is kept at the station waiting for his foster parents. Finally, I get to go home.
The lingering fear from that close call leaves me breaking into cold sweats. I realize perfectly clearly that Chu-an has his eyes on this place. We cannot stay.
I spend all day selling the house, preparing to move. But somehow, I am still one step too late.
Now, pay attention. At 6 p.m., my son's homeroom teacher calls. Mr. Trong, Why did Trong Chio not show up at school today?
Is he sick? She asks. Why did you not request a leave? Right then, cold sweat drenches my back. Horrifying flashes of my son falling from that building in my past life replay endlessly. When I finally speak, my voice violently shakes from pure stress.
My wife personally took my son to school this morning. There is no way he is absent. Are you absolutely sure you are not mistaken?
Did you check everywhere on campus? A missing child is not a small issue. Please do not joke around with me about this.
The teacher clearly did not expect things to escalate like this. She pauses for 2 seconds before explaining. Mr. Trong, I have been here all day. I truly have not seen Trong Cheo anywhere.
You said your wife brought him to school today. Could he have felt sick on the way, so she took him straight to the hospital? Maybe you should check with her again.
Trong Chio is definitely not on campus today. I already asked around. Senior year students are studying intensely, so their activity area is pretty small.
All of his close friends said they did not see the boy today, and they did not hear about him taking any leave.
Ask his mother again. Do not let anything bad actually happen to him.
You can feel that creeping dread, right? Senior students face massive pressure. What if he did something reckless? I stop hearing her words after that. Only one single terrifying thought remains, echoing in my mind. My son is missing.
Countless horrifying scenarios flash right before my eyes. I have no idea how I even hang up the phone, but when I finally regain my senses, I am slumped on the floor, my whole body completely drained of strength. Shaking, I hurriedly dial Tungwet's number. It takes almost a full minute before she finally answers.
It sounds like she is in a company meeting. What is it, honey? Why are you calling me at this hour?
Are you not at the school picking up our son? Hearing my wife's familiar voice, I just lose it. My voice chokes up. The homeroom teacher just called and said Trong Chio never showed up.
Tell me you are absolutely sure you dropped him off this morning. Did you actually watch him walk into the school?
How does a kid just vanish? Seriously, what kind of mother are you anyway?
Our son has been missing all day. Why are you still working? Who are you even making money for? My tone is probably awful. Tungwet is usually quite easygoing, but right now she sounds a bit panicked too.
I definitely took him all the way to campus, but I did not watch him walk inside. He was already at the gate. Where else could he go? Maybe the teacher made a mistake. Trong Chi is usually so well behaved, always eager for school.
Do not panic. I am heading to the school to ask her right now. If that fails, we call the cops.
We live in a lawful society, and he is so grown up, he will definitely be fine. Tungwet's words remind me, because of my pure panic, I almost completely forgot to alert the police myself.
Thinking about last night, Chu An was still at the station. He had no chance to strike. Not so soon.
As long as I confirm he is still waiting for his foster parents, even if my son is missing, maybe our past life's tragedy will not repeat.
Maybe it really is just overwhelming academic pressure, or he just wanted to go out and blow off some steam today.
I frantically called the police to check. I told the officer, "Hey, I am the guy who brought Chuan in last night. Is he still at the station?"
But the very next second, my whole body froze up, goosebumps everywhere. Chuan had already been picked up by someone else.
Sorry about that. Forgot to notify you, the officer said. I gripped my phone tight, about to report my son missing, but he kept talking, sounding pretty doubtful.
But when his foster parents showed up, we asked about his situation. It completely contradicted everything that kid told us last night.
They only brought him home because they really wanted to raise another child.
That family already has a disabled son, and they are not exactly wealthy. They just wanted a normal kid to raise, someone they could actually rely on when they get older.
From what they told us, they prepped a private room right away, bought him tons of new clothes, and even got the kid a brand new wheelchair.
The weird part? Chuan reacted totally cold to all of it, not acting his age at all. They figured his physical condition just made him an introvert, so they brushed it off.
Then last night, Chuan completely vanished. If the police had not called, those poor parents would have literally gone insane with worry.
Seeing me stay completely silent, the officer assumed I was just really worried about Chuan.
He tried comforting me, telling me not to stress, saying Chuan is incredibly smart and probably perfectly fine. Maybe growing up as an orphan just gave him some lingering emotional issues.
Now that he is adopted into a loving family, he will slowly recover.
But I did not care about that kid. You realize what actually matters here, right? Only one detail echoed in my head. That family was not exactly wealthy.
This was probably the real reason Chuan sneaked out and came looking for my house. That guy is just way too greedy. A completely average family simply does not have enough wealth for him to eventually inherit.
Not to mention, that family already has a disabled son, which is definitely going to be a huge obstacle.
The more I thought about it, the more terrified I got. Before the officer could hang up, I frantically reported my son missing and threw out my suspicions about Chuan.
When exactly did someone come pick Chuan up? The officer answered immediately. Right as you left, his foster parents arrived. You guys missed each other by mere moments.
I glanced down at my watch. I left that police station at exactly 6. At the absolute latest, Chuan probably walked out around 7.
My son goes to school at 8 o'clock. The timing matched perfectly. I completely panicked, demanding to file a report. I yelled that Chuan is the prime suspect who kidnapped my son. You guys have to catch him right now. 1 second too late, and my boy is in danger. The officer obviously did not believe a word I said. He thought my anxiety was just making me paranoid, even letting out a laugh.
Look, Dad, I totally get how you feel right now. But Chuan is just a kid, and his legs are crippled. He literally does not have the physical ability to act.
You might be worried, but you cannot just make wild accusations.
Where exactly was your son last seen? Tell you what, just come down to the station and give us all the specific details. We will immediately dispatch a team to go look into it.
Honestly, the whole time regression thing sounds way too ridiculous. Nobody would ever believe it.
Plus, Chuan is way too good at hiding things. His leg muscles shrank from using a wheelchair so long, and his tiny frame makes him look exactly like a normal disabled person.
Even if I claimed he was faking his paralysis, I had zero proof. They would just treat me like a total lunatic.
I anxiously hung up the phone and rushed straight to the police station. On the way there, I deeply regretted my past choices.
My son actually has really great self-control, but honestly, he is still just a little kid.
Because I worried about his grades, I absolutely refused to buy him any electronic devices whatsoever. I even made him use raw cash for all of his daily school snacks. My boy complained about this constantly. He said his friends laughed at him, but I just ignored it, offering empty comfort. During your school years, grades are the only thing that truly matters. Those kids are just jealous of my love for you. That is exactly what I told him. And the result? Now that my son is missing, I cannot think of a single way to contact him.
Tears instantly flooded my face. I grabbed my head, crying silently in pure agony.
On my way, I quickly texted my wife, Tong Wit. I told her to head straight to the station first and explain everything about the morning school drop-off. The police had already sent people out.
I absolutely refused to just sit around the station waiting for results, so I dragged Tong Wet along to search all our son's usual hangout spots. We looked everywhere, but found absolutely zero traces of him. In a complete state of panic, I started fiercely cursing at Chuan. At first, Tong Wet listened patiently, but after a while, her face slowly turned super dark and serious.
I know you are worried about Chio, she said, but Chuan is still just a child, and the police found absolutely zero direct link between him and our missing son.
Acting like this just messes with your own head, she told me. You can feel the tension snapping here. I'd get what you are implying, but we never even adopted that kid.
He is an orphan, so you cannot exactly blame us, right? Just calm down. Hearing that, I glared right back at her in absolute fury.
What do you even know? Chuan already destroyed our entire family once before. Are we really going to just sit back and let him ruin us all over again?
I swear to you, Chio was taken by Chuan. If you do not believe me and think I am crazy, we can literally get a divorce right now.
This was the very first time I completely blew up at Tonewet. She instantly froze in pure shock, asking what I just said.
I knew I could not hide the truth anymore. Right now, my son's safety matters most, and I still need her help. I absolutely had to come clean.
I lay out every single detail of what happened after we adopted Chuan in my past life. It takes Tuongwed a really long time to shake off the shock. She asks if everything I said is actually true. I give a firm nod. Otherwise, why would she think I have such a strong disgust for Chuan?
Back when we donated to the orphanage, did she ever see me object to it?
That kid is absolutely not disabled. It is all a sick act, meant to hook a rich, kind, easily manipulated family so he can strike.
What he actually wants is the lives of our entire family. If my guess is right, Chuan will be back here soon enough. If she doubts me, just wait and see.
Sure enough, right as I finish speaking, a call from the police comes in. They already checked the security cameras at the school gate. Your son received a letter, then suddenly turned around and walked into a small alleyway. There are no cameras in there, and the scene offered 0 clues.
They tell us we should head to the station ourselves. Nuet and I look at each other, both seeing the pure panic in our eyes, and immediately sprint straight for the precinct.
But when we get there, Chuan is sitting right in the office, looking like he has been waiting for ages.
Now watch this performance. The second he spots us, he bursts into fake tears, crying, "Uncle, Auntie, he finally found us."
He begs us to save him, claiming his new adoptive parents are barely human. Says they dragged him home this morning and beat him for a whole hour straight.
He swears that if he had not snuck out while they were asleep, he would have literally lost his life by now.
Seeing Chuan get so worked up and out of control, a soft-hearted female officer steps up to comfort him, slipping him quite a few sweet snacks.
My heart turns totally cold, while the doubt in Nguet's eyes finally vanishes completely. I know she has actually believed my warning at last.
Chuan is absolutely not as simple as he seems. The officer handling the report gets a massive headache from this tangled mess of events and cannot help but curse out loud.
It seems everything Chuan said about that family this morning was completely fake, just a massive calculated act.
This kid really is pitiful. That family just filed a report saying their mentally challenged son went missing, begging the police to quickly send someone to investigate.
But where are they supposed to find enough manpower? Why is every single thing piling up all at once like this?
To make his escape, Chuan truly will not stop at any ruthless tactic. That mentally challenged son of theirs is probably in pretty grave danger right now. With their biological kid missing, they obviously have no mood left to go searching for Chuan. After all, he is merely an adopted son.
Right then, Chuan cries while taking off his jacket, revealing some seriously brutal scratch marks all over his arms.
I take one look and spot human skin tissue still stuck under his fingernails. It is not hard to guess these injuries were entirely self-inflicted by his own hands.
Just to sell this act, he actually hurts himself without hesitation. No wonder he slaughtered our whole family in the past life without blinking an eye.
Witnessing just how ruthless and vicious Chuan can be, the sheer anxiety I feel for my own son skyrockets to the absolute limit.
Yet I cannot even voice these dark suspicions of mine to the police.
Thankfully, Chuan is being held at the station right now and cannot leave. Nuet and I use this tight window to rush to the school and check our son's camera footage from the past month.
After finishing the video, my heart sinks straight to rock bottom. On the screen, my son holds a few pink letters, his eyes full of pure sympathy and worry. I point at the monitor and ask the teacher what exactly this is.
The teacher freezes for 2 seconds, then mentions they are letters sent from the orphanage. Chio is such a kind kid, joining volunteer activities there every single week.
She heard he got pretty close to one boy, even skipping meals just so he could buy gifts for him.
They must have been in touch for quite a while now. I noticed Chu's classmates all know about him. Is that kid's name perhaps Chuan?
I voice my deep suspicion, and the homeroom teacher immediately nods to confirm it. My entire body goes limp, and I almost completely lose my footing.
Nuet quickly reaches out to catch me.
Are you putting the pieces together yet? The homeroom teacher just keeps on talking, saying that kid is pitiful, disabled, orphaned early, and wonders how he even survived alone all these years. She tells us we raised our son so well. He is sensible, grateful, surely blessed by heaven, and will definitely be perfectly fine.
But the more she tries to comfort me, the more terrified I feel. I never expected Chuan to approach my son this early on. This so-called accident seems to have been carefully planned for a really long time.
I follow the teacher to the classroom and find several letters inside my son's desk, along with gifts Chow Chow prepared for Chuan, but never got to give. Things he could not even bear to use himself. My nose stings and tears stream right down my face. I open the letter, and exactly as expected, it is just endless complaining about being poor and miserable.
Stuff about getting his snacks stolen at the orphanage, or arriving too late to grab a meal because of his supposedly crippled leg.
My son replied with firm determination, calling him a little brother and swearing to protect him no matter what happens. He even promised to convince our family to adopt Chuan.
My son was sheltered way too well, completely blind to how vicious human hearts can be out in the real world.
I do not even know how I finally walked out of that school. Stepping past the gate, the sky is already completely pitch black.
Toonwiet stays by my side, comforting me, but I suddenly push her away, rushing off to find Chuan's adoptive parents.
Right now, we are all in the exact same boat. Their biological kid has definitely been forced into the very same deadly position as my son.
Chuan lived in the orphanage for years, so his usual zone isn't very big. This is our last chance. Maybe they know a clue. Toonwiet has no leads either, so she just follows me into the car.
Sure enough, the moment we arrive at Chuan's adoptive parents' house, we see them tearing his room apart, crying silently as they search.
I only have one child. If something bad happens to him, I am done. I genuinely don't want to live.
It is all your fault. We had a peaceful life, but you insisted on adopting. Now look, our own son is missing. What kind of father are you?
Our boy got beaten that badly, and you noticed nothing? Is he even your son anymore? And hey, hit subscribe.
That adopted kid of yours? I seriously doubt he is just some random orphan. He is probably some illegitimate brat you had outside. His face looks exactly like yours.
You absolute animal. You despised my sick son, so you have just wanted to throw him away this whole time, right?
Well, now you've got exactly what you wanted. Let me tell you, as long as I am breathing, you will never bring that little monster inside.
If I see him, I will beat him every single time. Right as Toonwiet and I step through the door, an ashtray comes flying straight at our faces.
Chuan's adoptive dad instantly goes pale, rushing to explain himself. What are you talking about? When have I ever betrayed you?
Weren't you the one who insisted on bringing him home? Why are you suddenly blaming all of this on me?
I hadn't even met the kid before. You failed to watch our son, and now you blame me. Mid-argument, they finally notice us standing there. Now watch how tense this gets. Instantly on guard, they snap. Who the hell are you people?
Quickly, I explain exactly who we are and exactly why we came here today.
Hearing that my own son is also missing, Chuan's adoptive mom finally drops her guard. You poor things, she says. Getting tangled up with that little monster Chuan, nothing good ever comes from it. How is it this coincidental? Both little boys vanish without a trace. Seems he is way smarter than I originally thought.
I lay out my suspicions. From their scattered descriptions, I slowly piece together the terrifying truth of what actually happened.
They adopted Chuan to look after their son and as a future investment for someone to care for them later.
The parents figured a disabled kid like Chuan would just stay quietly at home. But surprisingly, right after they took him in, weird things kept happening.
Their son's condition had been pretty stable, but after hanging around Chuan, he suddenly couldn't control his emotions. He started making these bizarre, unsettling noises right at midnight.
At first, they genuinely just assumed his illness was flaring up again.
They gave him his medicine, but while bathing him, they found his body covered in fresh bruises. And that very same night, Chuan had secretly sneaked out.
If they hadn't gotten that sudden phone call from the cops, they never would have guessed Chuan had tracked down my house.
Even then, they didn't suspect Chuan at all. They just assumed their own son was acting up and somehow hurt himself.
But the very next day, even more mysterious injuries appeared on their boy, while Chuan vanished for the whole day. They rushed out searching, but came home to find their son completely gone.
Right then, it finally clicks. Everything. It all ties directly back to Chuan.
Since Chuan had already given his statement first and was totally covered in his own wounds, the police flat out refused to believe the parents.
Left with zero options, the desperate couple could only rush back home and tear through Chuan's belongings, praying to find absolutely any trace of a clue.
Hearing my side of the story, they angrily slammed the table. That little animal actually dared to pull something like this.
But the cops don't believe a single word we say, so what else can we even do? My boy is already sick, out there on his own. He won't survive a few days.
I offer a few comforting words, then step right up to help them dig through Chuan's things.
Luckily, after the adoption paperwork went through, every single piece of Chuan's stuff got moved right into this exact room. All four of us are squatting on the floor, frantically searching. But here is the craziest part. Without warning, the whole situation blows up online. Nguet's coworker calls to warn her, and she realizes she just became the target of a massive cyber attack.
The shocking news that Chuan was adopted only to be brutally abused has already skyrocketed to the top search trends.
somebody from the orphanage exposed how Toonwet and I constantly do charity work, which instantly sparks an absolutely massive wave of wild public outrage.
The comment section is boiling over.
They are cursing us out as total hypocrites, claiming we fake sympathy for clout. They say we refuse to adopt a pitiful kid like Chuan, leaving him to get taken by terrible people and suffer a horrific tragedy.
Toonwet and I get fully doxxed. Our personal info leaks everywhere, instantly dragging in an even more violent storm of pure online hate.
The social media accounts we use to share our daily lives and post cute photos of our son get blasted so hard we are forced to lock them up.
People keep saying we have all this money, but still bluntly refuse to take in a poor, disabled little boy. The self-righteous hate comments just keep piling up. Toonwet is shaking with pure anger, trying to jump into the comments to explain our son is missing. She is totally overwhelmed, but absolutely no one shows even a shred of empathy.
Instead, they curse at her even more viciously, saying she totally deserves it.
I have seen plenty of heartless rich trash just like you. Your kid going missing is just straight up karma.
You refuse to do any actual good deeds, so this is simply heaven's absolute punishment coming down on you.
Having all that money and you still wouldn't adopt a disabled child. Who knows if your past charity work was just a giant fake act anyway? Oh, your kid is missing now?
The heavens are finally giving you a warning. Go adopt that kid right now. Maybe once the paperwork is done, your precious son will actually come back.
Some situations truly demand you step up and do the right thing.
Toonwet is incredibly furious, ready to call a lawyer and sue every single one of them. But right then, a call comes in from the police station. Chuan wants to speak with us. Over the phone, he's sobbing uncontrollably. He cries out, apologizing, saying he never expected things to turn out this way. He knows Choo-Choo is missing, and everyone's terribly worried.
He actually suggests we just go ahead with the adoption paperwork right now. If this whole online drama keeps blowing up, he says it's definitely going to ruin our normal everyday lives.
He claims he knows we don't really want to bring him home. He says he can just stay at the orphanage. It's totally fine.
Toonwet doesn't even hesitate, ready to reject him immediately, but I quickly grab the phone, stopping her.
I tell him gently that I know he's a good kid. I promise we'll contact the director to sort out the paperwork and ask him to just wait at the police station a little longer.
I add that he's a sensible boy, so he'll surely understand our current situation, right? Seeing me agree, Chuan doesn't argue, happily hanging up. Toonwet's face instantly darkens. She demands to know why on earth I just agreed with that scheming kid. She points out he obviously leaked all those online rumors. Couldn't I see that? A kid with that kind of deep calculation is definitely up to no good.
She insists on teaching him a severe lesson, refusing to believe the law won't handle this. I just press her hand down gently, then place Chuan's investigation folder right in front of her.
I tell her to look at what I found. Chuan's adoptive parents also stop what they're doing, watching with pure curiosity.
Inside that folder is an old newspaper clipping about a factory shutting down after an incident, and Chuan had circled it in red. Judging by the date, this factory has been abandoned for years. It's way out in the remote countryside, a desolate place hardly anyone ever visits.
Toonwet's eyes immediately light up. The four of us instantly jump up and sprint out the door.
As we drive deeper into nowhere, all of our hearts are practically pounding out of our chests. We pull up to the factory gates, only to hear wild dogs barking inside, mixed with this horrifying, violent tearing sound.
My heart skips a terrifying beat. I roll up my sleeves, fully ready to charge straight in.
Toonwet grabs my arm to stop me, bending down to hand me a heavy wooden stick. Once all four of us are armed with whatever we can find, we kick the massive factory doors wide open.
A pack of wild red-eyed dogs immediately turn their heads, totally distracted by the massive crash.
Now picture this exact moment. I look up. My son is clinging desperately to a high pillar with absolutely nowhere for his feet to stand. I yell out, "Don't move! Dad's coming to get you!" The adoptive mom spots her own son right next to him, utterly terrified and trembling from the pure, sheer shock. My son's frail little body is fiercely struggling to hold himself up, while simultaneously supporting the other boy so he doesn't slip. He is practically running on fumes at this point.
Being on high alert for so long has entirely numbed him. At first, he doesn't even realize Toonwet and I are actually here.
My eyes well up, my heart just breaking. Tunwet and the adoptive dad instantly charge in, swinging wildly until the wild dogs are entirely subdued on the dusty ground.
Both of them are covered in cuts and bruises, but they don't even care about their own painful injuries right now.
Tunwet instantly rushes right over to the pillar.
The second my son sees me running toward him, he bursts into loud tears. His whole body goes limp, his hands let go, and he drops straight down, right into Tunwet's tight embrace.
The other boy gets safely rescued too. They're both so terrified they just hug each other, crying the entire car ride back.
On the way home, my son explains he got a text from Truan at the school gates. It was more complaints about mistreatment, begging to meet up just one last time.
My soft-hearted boy agreed, but after drinking some water Chuan handed him, he woke up trapped in that awful place.
Chuan originally planned to leave them there to perish, letting those wild dogs fully erase the evidence. He just never expected them to pull each other up and cling on to that rope.
I hold my son tightly, comforting him. Tunwet drives straight to the police station without hesitation, and all four of us step up to officially testify.
With the victim's statements added in, the evidence against Chuan is overwhelmingly solid. He has absolutely no choice but to finally confess.
The police take him in for a thorough medical check, proving his legs are actually perfectly fine. But when those official results hit the internet, they accidentally expose a much older, chilling case that had been buried for years.
This next twist is absolutely wild. Chuan's parents didn't just pass away tragically. They were actually intentionally taken out by him.
He despised living in poverty, knowing city orphans often received massive support from wealthy sponsors. But to get that kind of comfortable life, his parents had to be permanently gone.
That incredibly brutal truth leaves everyone in the room shivering in pure, absolute horror. All those totally fabricated stories about him being constantly mistreated are officially debunked by the police, sparking a massive wave of intense, furious online outrage.
Prison time is utterly unavoidable now. After signing the final papers and leaving the station, my son grips my arm incredibly tightly.
He looks up and thanks me for finding him, saying he knows everything I did was purely for his sake.
He promises he'll always listen from now on, finally realizing you can never just blindly trust total strangers.
I pull him into a relieved hug. Kindness is never wrong, but you always have to learn to protect and love yourself before extending that love to literally anyone else.